Hey everyone, we're going to continue on our journey here with the PCG Graph. And in the last episode, we finished our forest here, and we have a path, and everything's spawning, and the path is clearing the forest. And we have another volume here that's also clearing the forest. And next, we're going to move on to some other um, kind of custom nodes that you can use. There's a couple of stack nodes that we can use, and then we're going to show these now. So we can go back to our PCG manager and go to create and then do a vertical stack. And we'll see this is our object here. I'm just going to move it a little bit so it's not right there. And what we can do is let's just add another group here, and we'll say vertical stacks and add the vertical stacks object, and we'll drag this into the graph. And let's go to the graph, and then we'll drag this in here. And let's use the stack vertically node, and we'll see this one takes the vertical stacks. Okay, we have this one, and then it takes an object set. So we'll create a new object set list. We'll call this one stack objects, for example. And we'll drag it into the object set. Okay, we'll save, and into the PCG manager, we now have the stack objects property, and we'll add a new object set. And in here we can see, okay, maybe we can use the road blocks and see what happens. Okay, we get one, and if we select our vertical stacks, we can drag this up, and I'm just going to disable the forest because we keep getting this respawn. So an easy way here is I can just do a blocker on the first node, and this will just block everything. Again, as you can see, just block everything this node touches downflow. It'll block it as well, which will completely stop the forest from generating. So going back to our stack, you see here I can generate as many as I want. And I can also use the same technique as for curves and areas. I can press shift and click. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. You cannot use that on these stacks. So I have to use the, maybe we'll add that as a feature. Um, though I'm not, maybe it's not that useful actually. Um, because you're not really defining something like a curve or an area. But either way, we can create multiple stacks here and change their height. You can also change them in the inspector as well. And then we can add more gap here if we want to, or reduce it. Well, and we can expose this if we want to. We can say here vertical stacks gap. We can say default is 0.1, and then we'll drag that, plug it into our object gap, and now we can control this from here. Okay, this is neat. Let's see if we can use another, like a better set maybe. Let's see what we have here. We have some books. Okay, we have another set of books here. Okay, we have a couple of things. So let's just use one of these. And we can see, okay, this is too much of a gap. We definitely don't want this. Let's do 0 for these. Okay, now we have these stacks of books, and we can get these a little bit closer together. And this is the first one. Okay. Now, we can randomize the rotation of these to make them look a little bit more organic. So we can use the update transform node, plug our objects in there, and use a random vector 3, plug that into the rotation, and say, okay, we want this from 0 to 360, and we only want this on the Y. And also we want this per instance, right? We don't want all the books rotated the same way. So we're going to save. And now we have some organic stacks. And again, this will adjust to whatever you plug into it. So we can change the objects here, and this will adjust based on the size of the object. Obviously, some will work better than others, but you can use anything you'd like, and this will stack them next to each other or on top of each other. Another interesting stack that we have is the bookshelf stack. And I'm just going to group this, and let's call this vertical stacks. I'll move this up here. And let's create a new group. We'll say bookshelf stack, and then we'll add shelf stack in here. I'll drag it into the scene. And then we'll search for another node, pack and shelf stack. You can see this object, this node has quite a lot of properties, and we'll just plug that in here, and we can reuse our object from before, or we can create a new one. We can create another object set list and say books. We'll come in here to the PCG manager, and then we'll see, okay, we have our bookshelf stack here, and we have the oh, sorry, we have the stack that we have to, we still haven't added the stack, so let me add the stack into the PCG manager as an object. So I'm gonna select the PCG manager, hit create, and then create a shelf stack, and then I can add this in here. Okay. Now in the books object set, I'll just add one set, and we'll just add one of these books here. Now let's see where shelf stack is. Oh, just move the entire manager. Now let me see. This is the shelf stack. Okay, I'll just move it a little bit closer here. And we can see this is giving us a little bit of a rectangular area that we can modify. I can drag this up, drag it this way. Okay, make it a little bit wider. And let's see. So currently we have in our graph, we have the shelf stack, then we have the shelf stack object from the scene, and now we just need to drag our books and connect them to the object set and save. And we can see this is stacking, but not really how we want to. So let's take a look. So we have the books object here. Let's see what's inside the book object. So I have these books. So let's see, when I drag them into the scene, they're looking upright, but the object itself, the 3D object, is flat on the ground, and it has a rotation that's been added to the prefab for it to be upright when I drag it into the scene. So what we can do is in the pack objects node, there's a preserve prefab rotation. So we can check this, and we can see now our objects will be upright. So we'll keep the rotation that's been set into the prefab itself, which is pretty neat. And we can increase the roll gap. We can say, okay, we want this to be 0.1. So you can adjust this basically based on whatever shelf unit that you have and keep adjusting it until it fits exactly within your shelves. You can also expand this and it'll fit as many books as it can. And we can also add lean chance here. We can say, okay, there's a 0.3 lean chance, and this will randomly lean some of the books inside that shelf. And that's how you create a bookshelf with books.